I'm Kim Pedley. I served in the Navy, United States Navy, from 1982 until 1991. I spent my boot camp in Orlando, which is where all the women went back in 1982. I think they go other places now. And my first duty station was in Sigonella, Sicily, as a U.S. military postal clerk. And I served the 6th Fleet for 3 years total. After that, handled their mail for that. And after that, I went to Scotland and did approximately 18 months there, working in a little post office on a little base in Scotland. And then after that, I went to NAS Jacksonville, and then Norfolk, Virginia was my last duty station, where I served aboard the USS Hunley, which is a subtender. And we went out we didn't go far out to sea, but we went out a few times, and we handled the mail for the ship that I was on and also for the subs around us. So it was pretty interesting. I mean, I got to see a lot of places. I got to see Sicily, which is beautiful. I got to see London. I actually went to London for a few weeks on a TDY type thing, or a temporary type duty assignment. And it was just an eye-opener for me. When I was very naive. I was very young. I was 20. I was still living at home. So it was actually my first real job, other than part-time jobs. And it just opened my eyes to the world. And a lot of it was really hard work. But a lot of it, I don't regret it. I tell people that's the best thing I ever did. And it grew me up. I was stationed over there. I was in Sigonella. It was my first duty station at the Fleet Mail Center. So we handled the mail for the 6th Fleet. And I was there when the Beirut bombing occurred. And they killed the 200 Marines in the Marine barracks in Lebanon. And we went from having one aircraft carrier group on us for mail purposes to 5. And that's huge. And there was only 13 of us to run the mail. And it was crazy. It was working, physical, hard work, because we didn't just handle mail for the base, we handled mail for all the ships that were in the Mediterranean. So we were working 90-hour weeks. And it was a sad time too, because of what happened. And it was my first, it was almost surreal. It was my first real experience in the world. That the world is not always a nice place. And so that definitely sticks in my mind. But then there was, then there were fun times too. We worked with a lot of the local Sicilians, and they weren't used to women doing the kind of jobs that we did. So I think they thought we were a little wild. But they were funny. They would come over and get the mail and take it out to the airplanes and things. And so yeah, that's my most. I think Sicily was made the biggest impression on me because it was my first duty station and because I was so young and didn't have a lot of worldly experience. Basically went right from mama's arms to the Navy. And so I really enjoyed it. I don't, like I said, I don't regret it a bit. And I would do it all over again, even though some of it was really, really hard. I can't compare it to what the military people do now because we weren't at war. And so I had untold respect, for them. I can't even imagine. Back then, women weren't even allowed, when I was in, women weren't even allowed on aircraft carriers. We were only allowed on certain ships and overseas duty stations. So a lot has changed since then. And I served mostly during peacetime, but the USSR was still, or as they call it, the Soviet Union back then, was still a big threat. So that's mostly, I think, a lot of it is what we were the military was focused on, but also things were, every so often things, heat up in the Middle East, so we focused on that too. But my job was more of a support job. I wasn't involved, you hear things and you're around it every day. But I was involved in making sure that the sailors got their mail. And it was important. We got, they liked us because we brought them their mail. But some of it was hard, dirty work. It's not like working in a little post office. You're in a big mail center. But throwing bags and boxes and heavy things. But I also got to see a lot of the world, and a lot of it is just really, really, and it's beautiful, but it's very different from here, very different. So there was the culture shock thing going on. And like I said, Scotland was just gorgeous, just as green as you see in the pictures. People, very, very nice people. And they spoke English. And then, of course, when I was in Sicily, very nice people too, but there was that language barrier. So I learned a few words of Italian, or Sicilian. It's a little bit different than straight up Italian. And we would go out. We called it going out on the economy, but we would go out in town quite a bit and go out to restaurants. And so, you know, it wasn't all work and no play. And so it was just a really, really great experience. And I recommend it to people. You know, now it's harder because the world is just so different now, but I do recommend it to young people. You know, go in the Army, go in the Navy, go in the, if you don't know what else, you know, if it gets you out in the world, and I think it grows you up. And I think it teaches you about life and how to handle yourself. Because I was very shy before I went in. Well, they don't allow shy. So that didn't last long.